told you, savages. Well. Hey, GL, let's hit this. How you doing, son?
I'm good. What's going on?
Welcome to the Trident, brother.
Yes, sir.
We're having church, huh?
It's another one.
What do you got for us today? GL tells me, I got one, man. We got to do this one. I'm like, GL, I promise, man. I'm ready.
Okay, so
before we get there, I got a question. When are we going to spin some rubber?
We need to soon. We do. We really
do. Spun rubber in a while.
I haven't ridden my motorcycle since Vegas.
Holy shit. That was a ride that was all about our survival in hell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We had the icy balls of hell teabagging us in the face all the way, didn't we, Glenn?
We did. We sure did. We were getting hit by every cold breeze in the world. It was like the Arctic.
Rocks, man.
The rocks on the sand. Like we showed up dirtier than a whore in a church.
I know. Yeah, and it was so relaxing. That piece of shit hotel that cost us a fortune. Thank you, man. I love you. Though.
Note to self: don't let me make the accommodations. But
good time. We're gonna spin rubber soon.
Oh yeah, definitely. So this video, this topic, my girl has a channel, Pillow Talk with Coco, and she did a recording on this topic. I produced it, and it was about basically, girl, this woman not wanting to suck dick. She doesn't like sucking dick.
Wait. There was no eggplant oral pleasuring?
This woman doesn't like sucking her husband's dick.
How
She
is
doesn't
that
like doing it.
possible?
I don't know. I don't know.
You ever know a woman like that? Do they actually exist?
I mean, I know there's a lot of guys that don't like going down on the girl, so I could only assume that there might be a woman that doesn't like to suck dick. I mean, you know, like. So this is a clip from her video, and you know, she's basically kind of like indicating, letting the person know, like, hey, like, well, you know, I'll just play it. You guys will see, and then we'll rip on that.
So this woman doesn't like sucking dick?
She's not a dick sucker. She's
in
not
this
a dick
video.
sucker. In the video that who she's talking about, yeah, the woman that she's talking about doesn't like sucking dick.
Oh, it's not the woman in the video.
Not the woman in the video.
Okay. Oh, I'm glad.
All right, here we go.
So she's saying that she doesn't like it. What is the worst that could possibly happen? Well, there's actually a big factor that plays a role in it. If he is telling you that there is something that he really likes and it's reasonable, your second is pecker. That's it. Okay. So he's telling you, like, hey, this really gets me going. And you're like, I don't really like it. Like, but what's the worst that could happen, right? Like, we could still have sex. I just won't suck your dick. Well, there are a lot of other women out there that if you have a very desirable man, and maybe it doesn't have to be totally desirable, because you know what, he can actually also pay somebody to do it if he really wanted to. But the point I'm trying to get at is that there's always somebody out there that is actually willing to do that and that has the desire to do that to him and for him when you don't. Because then there are women like this.
I don't even get fucked. I just want to suck off dicks. Right now, I'm not in a, like, I'm complete no sex. Like, well, because it's not available.
Yeah, quarantine, everybody's home, lockdown.
If it's not there, I don't need it, which is fucked. But like, I don't get fucked and then satisfied. When I get fucked, I want more and I get crazy. So right now, there's no. But fuck yeah, just if you guys suck off. Right
she hasn't had the good dick yet.
I like to suck dick. I get cravings. Yeah. Dick sucking cravings. Yeah. Where I'm just like, I want to smoke a big fat joint.
Oh, that was a favorite. My most funniest comment.
Man, that was good. You know.
Realize you're doing it. You know what I mean?
Don't we love 304?
Sloppy.
Everybody loves hoes.
You're
I'm
such
telling
good
you.
girls, man. So good.
You just want your hoe or your wife to be your hoe, not everyone's
I
hoe.
will suck your dick anywhere, anytime if you ask me first. Yeah. Politely.
I do. Yeah. I do like to suck dick. Clean dick.
Yes.
Good girl.
Yes.
Clean dick.
Clean.
If I like you, I love sucking your dick. I won't want that thing out of my mouth. But if you're just like somebody, like, no, I ain't gonna suck your dick. I don't even want that thing near me.
Yeah.
Yes. If they're a hygienic dick.
So interesting. Now, if Glenn, if she won't suck your dick, what about rusty trombone? There's no dick sucking involved there.
That's true.
You always got a solution, right? You know?
Yeah, but like, I think it's important. Like, I'm glad that she pointed this out, because what she pointed out is that, you know, it's important, ladies, for you to be available sexually for your partner, for your man, and to provide them the pleasure that they like. You know, and if you don't, you're opening the door for him to seek it elsewhere.
Yeah, why is that so important, Glenn? GL, what's up with that? You know,
it's important because you want to keep the relation. Ladies, if you value your relationship and you want to keep that relationship secure, you're going to make sure that you do everything that he likes sexually, because you don't want someone else to take your spot. Because that will be, if he's seeking that desire somewhere else and it's not coming from you and you don't want him to go elsewhere, then you should do it. And if you don't, he's going to find it elsewhere. It's kind of like mate guarding. It's just securing the relationship up.
You know, that's very true. You know, sex is the glue that holds relationships together. And I noticed that Coco introduced it, which that's fantastic. She really called it out. And I commend her for her being so brave on the podcast. I would wonder, she has girlfriends that she, you know, just like we have friends, girls have girlfriends, you know. And I wonder what her thought with her girlfriends that she associates with is around. I wonder if any of them see it after a period of time as a duty, which, you know, I've lived a long time. I've had a lot of experiences, and I find that sometimes they're not in the mood, girls, women. And when they start performing that perfunctory service, shall we say, as an eggplant connoisseur, as that goes on for a moment and it's not too fast, they start putting themselves in the mood.
Yeah, it's like they kind of like start responding to
the action,
the reaction like of what's going on, the moaning, the sound effects, the body, just all the atmosphere, right? The whole thing. They start getting turned on from it. And it's like, look, I'm not even like, if your girl's like, I'm not even in the mood, don't worry, you will be. Just start sucking.
I know. I mean, us guys are just like, just do it, so it's Star. I mean, you don't want a tetanus shot after the rusty trombone, dear? Oh, I guess she's responding to this one. Well, thanks, dear. Appreciate that. But it just takes a little bit of finesse and not as much crass, and the girls are really come along. I think that
Coco answered your question, though. She just answered your question.
Good. That's what I wanted to answer. I wanted to see her. Yes, some do, but not all of them. Those that lost attraction to their man look at it like a duty.
Yeah. For those that are not following Coco yet, make sure she just started her YouTube channel. Give her a follow.
Well, what's it called?
It's Pillow Talk with Coco. It's Pillow Talk with Coco right there, just like the name.
Can we send a link in the chat?
Yeah. I'll pull it up and I'll drop it in the chat.
Okay, we'll drop it in the comments too. Coco's a dear, and she's a slow learner, but Glenn is he's learning her through proper conditioning, and when she's bad, he does, he has the carrot and he has the stick. So we appreciate her, and we will definitely send some support her way. But yeah, I mean, I'm really interested. How many of your girlfriends would actually look at it as a duty? And is it something that's time related, or is it just loss of attraction? And they don't want to say it. They just want to say, I'm tired. I don't like it anymore. It's funny. I have ran into some women that initially really liked it, but then they kind of trained themselves not to like it because one or two bad experiences. Have you heard of that, Glenn? And what about you, Coco? Shoot, it would be good. We should have jumped.
I mean, I don't suck dick, so I don't know.
No, I meant with your experience.
I haven't. I would say like with my ex, it was she lost interest, It was like due to the no longer like in the relationship, like there was that, when they're fading out and they're already on their way out. There was that, but like other than her, I've never met somebody that didn't like sucking dick.
Yeah, but have you ever had the experience where they're actually all not that good? There's a big difference.
Oh no, yeah. I've told girls, no, get off. No, it's okay. Stop.
You have to be conditioned properly.
Huh?
They have to be conditioned properly in order to do it. Properly. They don't really know. And most guys are so excited that somebody's touching their pee-pee, Glenn, that they're not going to tell them.
Yeah, they're just gonna like go with it, like, oh, I don't care if she is grating my dick down like a cheese grater. I'm just gonna enjoy it because somebody's touching my balls.
Yes, I think so too. And I kind of wanted to respond to what she said in the chat too. We should have maybe brought her on here, Glenn, just for a little Q&A on this. She would have been a great.
Well, I mean, if she sets up her stuff, I could just send her the link. I mean,
yeah, Coco, if you want to later on the broadcast, we'll be on for about another 40 minutes. But if you want to add your commentary, we wouldn't mind having you on the Trident. Then we'd have a complete Trident. We'd have all three
yeah,
of
voices.
the barbed tips in there, so to speak.
Mhm.
But
Well, so what you say here?
so she was answering me that that men that kind of got lazy in the relationship. I see that too, meaning that they stopped taking care of themselves and they've gotten selfish and don't please her, but always ask to get their dick sucked. Yes, but this is not an exclusive issue. I would say that most women come out of the box not doing it very well. And the issue with it is it's an easy, quick way, and guys do get lazy about sex. Sex to do properly as a man requires strength, endurance to properly
Stamina.
to properly achieve entry into Valhalla for the woman, and they also have to have proper control over her body, which cunnilingus would provide to him. It's actually quite strong and masculine to be able to control a woman's body in such a fashion, but on the other side of it, most guys aren't like that. They don't understand that they have that power. And that power is the power to entrance a woman to learn how to perform fellatio in ways that actually inspire him to keep up his attractiveness. It really does. I mean, sex is the glue, but there's a reason for it.
Now, here's a question I have for that though. Like,
but before you get there, Glenn, before that, if a woman really is into it, I think you'll agree with this. She's going to learn the ins and outs. And even though you might have sex that's kind of awkward, kind of compatible at first, she actually gets better over time. Whereas most people experience over time, it gets worse. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I'm saying, here's the question I have though, because hers is, primarily dependent upon the guy. Like the answer is, the guy got lazy in the relationship. He stopped caring about himself and he got selfish. Okay, so those are just like failures for the guy though. But what about the woman? What if the guy's not doing that? What if he hasn't got lazy? What if he hasn't stopped taking care of himself? What about the guys that are not selfish and their wives just don't want to suck their dick? Like, or because there has to be some out there that are just stop doing it after a while, right? Because just like the marriage thing, right? Like, so it takes what, 2 to 3 years after the honeymoon phase that women start declining in the marriage, right? Or they stop like having interest or, that passion or whatever. The honeymoon phase is gone for them.
Well, yeah, the loss of novelty does have an impact. Yeah.
So like, it's like 2 to 3 years. I think that's what Rollo said. And it's like, so, and for guys it's like 5 to 7 years. So let's say like, what happens like if the guy is not doing those things and falling off, right? And the girl just losing interest, like there has to be that. It can't all just be guys not washing his balls and not being lazy.
It's not even close to that.
Yeah, I think what her answer is probably a lot less than.
We have a good friend, Sterling Cooper, who has been in the adult film industry as an award-winning actor. And much like you, Glenn, you're an award-winning actor, but in a different genre, shall we say. And what happens with that is he has become extremely knowledgeable, and he's worked with other male performers. And one thing they always agree on is that almost all, even the best of the best that do it as a profession, are not good at fellatio at all. They just aren't. And he's got videos on that too. They have to be taught. There is a skill, and that's why I put some people are just skilled. And a lot of it has to do with when you please a person to such an extent. You ever give a gift and the excitement's not in the gift you give, but them opening the gift and all the action that built up to it? That's kind of a skill, right? And it's picking out, because you can buy any gift, but some girls know how to pick out the gift that touches a man in ways he didn't think of. She paid attention to things over a long course of time and realized that this gift would speak on many, many levels. And then as he opened this gift up, it would last and it would be really impressive. Most women don't do that, but if they learn these skills, and I'm not advocating that they learn these skills, but the man can easily condition them, because most men won't say anything because they're just getting their pee-pee touched. Oh, I'm just getting my pee-pee touched. I don't care. So therefore, even if it's dirty and it's an unhygienic act, they're not going to say anything, because the girls aren't going to say anything, And so you kind of just, this is why I encourage dirty talk. And I encourage when I've consulted with couples practicing their foreplay, because a lot of times when things get stale and they don't want to do stuff, it's because they lost that ability to create novelty.
Yeah.
And part of that novelty is to build a scenario. Men are the romantics. So even just saying something and having your gal repeat it back triggers these parts of the brain that start to affect the body. Having been trained in erotic hypnosis, I have literally watched women achieve orgasm through hypnotic trance, flow state, and through talk in the right environment where rapport is strong. It takes time, but I've watched it. Absolutely doable. And when you see that kind of energy back and forth, it's pretty impressive. So most women have an issue with it, but most men don't know how to address it because they're just feeling so lucky to have sex. And so if you're a guy and she's not doing what you want, you only have a few options, right, Glenn?
Yeah. Well, here's the funny thing though. Like, let's just move it past like,
Mhm.
you know, blowjobs, right? Let's just
Yeah.
move it past that. Like, this same principle applies to women that don't want to have sex with their husbands anymore.
Mhm.
You know, like when they start making all the excuses, oh, I got a headache, oh, I'm tired, oh, I'm this, and then you do all the chore play and you're not getting anywhere with it. Like eventually the guy's gonna be like, okay, I'm going elsewhere. It's just like this. If you walk into your kitchen and you open your fridge and you never have food in there, guess what? Eventually you're gonna go out of the house to go get some food because you're hungry, right? At some point you're gonna be like, I'm starving here, I can't go without eating, I'm gonna go get some food. Same thing with sex, ladies. Same thing with sex. It's if your husband keeps on going to your legs and your legs are closed for service, eventually, and I'm sorry to say this, and it's not good that they go out and do this, but I'm saying you are putting them in a situation to where that they're gonna end up craving it enough to where they're gonna go out and do it. So you can't be mad if your man is doing something like that.
Yeah,
when
well,
you're the
yeah,
reason that's starting it.
And in some ways that can, what happens prior to that can lead to novelty and can correct the situation. Let me address something here because this is pretty funny. One of our fans, Star, has mentioned, then they're incompatible. Then what? Well, Star, cats and dogs living together. Oh my God, right? So some of it's
have you ever seen a dog try to hump a cat? I mean, it happens all the time.
So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, but let's just think about it. Let's go with the analogy that I laid out about incompatible. Cats and dogs are incompatible. But have you ever been away from your animal for a short period of time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour, and you come back and you watch your dog? It goes crazy, jumps up and down, doesn't care, just wants to be happy by you and shares that energy because they're highly social pack animals. That is us at our core. Now you can say you're the cat. Cats are beautiful. They purr. They're very individualistic. Well, what's the cat doing? It might purr when you get home, but rarely.
The cat is the most selfish animal in the world.
But rarely. I mean, some of them are a little more than others, but it takes a little more effort to get that cat to the point where it's as excited when you come back. You know,
I have never met a cat that was excited to see somebody unless they were hungry.
There are personalities that behave in a similar fashion because, you know, if that's what I'm getting to. If you feed a cat often enough, I've seen stray cats get super excited to see somebody and even let you touch them that they let nobody else do.
Yeah, because they're hungry.
You got to build that kind of mentality with a partner that you might be incompatible with. That brings up another good question. It's really,
are you saying, like, hold on, are you saying that women are like cats, or 304s and cats are alike?
Well,
like, you know, if you carve them out enough, they'll eventually come letting you touch them and then purr for you.
Well, there is another name they're known by. Cats are. Starts with a P.
Won't say it.
What was it? I can't hear you, Glenn. You're funny.
What was that?
You break it up.
Sorry.
No worries. Skull, my British Viking son. You know, what I was getting back to is compatibility, Glenn. I think that's super important. There is a mismatch in libido sometimes, and somebody will want to avoid it. That's very unfortunate because they are skills that can be trained. And if somebody actually has, you know, we should talk to Janelle because she's real good about that energy. I know she does the shock tea and all of the tantric stuff, There's something to that. There is something to that exchange of energy. Now, I wouldn't necessarily use the same language, but I believe there is that because I've witnessed it too many times. And when there's that incompatibility and a bit of a fight there, and the polarity's not, I mean, when the polarity's good, it's not that he wants to do it and she doesn't. It's that they both want to, and the masculine and the feminine polarity is there, and the passion rises to a certain degree. So how do we get around it, Glenn? So here's my savage math for the day. All right. You meet the gal, and this is for you older gals out there, and you're going to hate it, but I don't care.
Wait a minute. You're not going to do the get the 2 2s or the 3 2s and you get a 6 thing, are you?
No, we've already done that. That works pretty well.
That math haunts me.
I know it does because math is real. But no. So here's the thing, you know, I can't tell you how many times we've looked at the TikToks and we talked about the 40, 50-year-old single gals that are frustrated there's no men. Look, gals, men want sex. They're built that way. They're never going to change. When you were young and you were sexy, it didn't matter because you had unlimited options. And now that those men don't pay attention to you and it's just an average guy, you don't want to have sex with them. You know, I've actually known beautiful older woman, and the guy she was dating waited a year. How do you think that sex went? Not good. And yeah, it didn't last. So that's a year of your life gone. Guys, you don't have time to waste, girls. So here's the advice. Get the sex out of the way as quickly as possible. Well, I can't do that because then I'd be known as a slut and a bad girl and all that stuff. Look, you need to do better screening up front so that you know what you're getting into. That's why I like Social Circle so much, because you know the person. You're just not looking at a computer and pretending. You actually have met the person in real life. And then get the sex out of the way. And if you're compatible and it's kind of okay, even might be awkward at first, after that, show some real value. That's girl game. And if you're an older gal and you're interested in having a man in your life, instead of looking for that exceptional man, look for a man that's acceptable. And that means sexually too. So don't get settled down with that compatibility sort of thing. What do you think about that, Glenn? I'm saying get the sex out of the way as quickly as possible if you want a long-term relationship.
I will say that show the sexual interest right away. I'm privy. I put more like, hey, you know, it's okay depending on your religious background or your belief system. If you want to hold yourself like Mike from Iron Disciples is like, Mike's still a virgin from Iron Disciples, and he wants his woman to be a virgin too. And I'm like, cool, I agree with that. You know, that more power to you. I think the sexual interest needs to be there, the desire, you know, the signals that need to be there.
All right. But I mean, he's a young guy, and I'm not coming at it from a religious angle, and I'm not shaming.
Yeah. I'm just saying that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, so I would say, yeah, get the sex out of the way quick. But also if you have religious things that are withholding you from doing that, as long as the sexual interest is there, that you're indicating to him that, like, I really want to suck your dick, or I really want you to bang the fuck out of me.
You're going to put yourself at a severe disadvantage.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Even with that kind of a religious conviction, and bless your heart for that kind of honor, you are putting yourself at a severe disadvantage, and you're putting yourself against the odds, seriously, because in order to make something work in the fashion you would like it to, you're going to need compatibility, and you're going to need to be able to sustain attraction and create novelty within that relationship. And
yes, but at the same time, like I'm saying, like, for the people in that crowd, if that's their thing, they're not. You know, they will find somebody that holds those values to them. They may be a lot harder. They might be a lot more scarce, but they could, if that's what they're going to do, if that's what they're standing by, then do that. But understand that, yes, you're going to have a hard time, as Thor was saying, you know, getting someone to lock down.
But I want to make sure we don't conflate the difference of what I said across the board. If you're a young person, say you're in youth group, say you're a young person, 16 to even say 23, and that is your conviction, you have a shot. You have a shot at it. Better shot than ever anywhere else.
Absolutely.
About women in their late 30s to 50s.
Oh, no. If you're that old, no, you better be sucking some dick. Okay, get out there and just put it all out there.
So here's what I'm saying. You can't find a good guy. You need to get the sex out of the way to establish that you have similar libidos, you have similar desires, and even if it's awkward, is it conditionable? Can you get to that spot because of attraction and desire? Once you do that, you have to initiate girl game on that guy because he's about the sex and he'll just lock into friends with benefits. But if there's value that you offer beyond those sexual traits, sexual offerings, shall we say, this guy is going to get that gift that we talked about earlier, where she took the time to wrap it. And I'm not talking about sex. We already got that out of the way. So he knows what's inside, but that whole anticipation, everything that comes after it, he knows he will get another one of those gifts down the road. And he anticipates that. And now she's starting to lock him, at least get him to start a missile lock on her. And that's what you want, ladies. You want him to get that heat-seeking moisture missile locked in and firing on the hot spot, so to speak. So
yeah, you know what? Like I was on the Purple Pill podcast with Torsha, and she brought this up too. It's interesting. She's like, you know, if you're not going to put out, you know, you still need to show desire and interest.
Mhm.
And she was like giving women like advice, like cook for him, you know, make him something, you know, like go out of your way, you know, as much out of your way as you can to indicate if you're going to not have to put out. But even then, if you're in your 30s and 50s, look, you already know how many guys you already bodied. Okay. There's no point in playing the virgin now. Okay. It's like, you might as well just, you know, show them what you're working with. You know, you want the guy to invest in you.
Well, when you've already, look, when you're past 30, 35, even 30, you're going to have to show an added value if you want a guy that's just marginally above acceptable.
Exactly.
And you have to come at it with the approach that you need to move that aside, make it passionate, make it good. You know what? Go with it, girl. You're going to have to go with it. Your screening for that guy should have been better. Try Social Circle. The problem is you're looking at all the exceptional on your dating apps and Instagram, and you can never get that sense because you girls in person will understand the dominant masculine presence. You're going to know like that if you would not have sex with them.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's
And
funny.
you know, Social
Sometimes
Circle,
you can run into gals, Glenn, or guys that are not all that attractive, but their presence is so strong it doesn't come through. And the other side, and those girls will know within minutes, yeah, I could do it with him, and he seems acceptable. It was the best thing that ever happened to him. So,
and Social Circle works better for girls, doesn't it? Like they're so much easier to get into a Social Circle game than guys do.
Well, it works easier to, I think, to find potential long-term mates. But you know, let's be honest, Instagram, there's married girls having their guy taking pictures of their guy turning like this with the guy's face buried in their bosoms. You can't even see their face, and she's looking back going ha ha ha, and they think that's a beautiful photograph of them, and she'll even say, we've been together for 5 years, and it's like, yeah, that's actually a for sale sign.
Well, guess who we got in the mix?
Coco Bay Fit.
Hi.
Hey, beautiful, how are you?
I'm tired. I just got off of work not too long ago, but
why are you working and not being taken care of as a taken care of woman?
Are you trying to?
You know what? I asked myself the same question.
Funny. How about you? Once you get back to the state that I'm in, how about that?
Oh, I didn't mean to throw you off, but just saying.
I know.
So,
I provide for all those that live under my household and my roof.
So I just said some pretty controversial things, girl, particularly about older women and dating. Okay. But the whole issue with sexual incompatibility and being frustrated in a long-term relationship, a lot of men just take it, and it's not a fun way to go. You know, it seems to me that women could certainly go much longer without sex than men can, just based on their anatomy and how they're built. But their needs certainly are there, just like a man's. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I do believe that that's true. I actually have known several women that it's weird for some reason, you know, in the honeymoon phase of relationships, they want it all the time. And then, you know, once they've been in the relationship for like 6 months, a year or something, and then they have kids, for some reason, they don't seem to crave intimacy from their husband as much. And then they can go longer periods of time without it. I mean, that always blew my mind because, like, for those that know me, I'm a diagnosed nymphomaniac. So, like, there's no off switch. So I can't relate to that. So, like, it's weird how women do seem to be able to go, but there are men that when they hit, or that I've seen men that hit the like F it mode, like where they've kind of gotten to the point where it's sad that they've just learned to accept it. They don't go outside the relationship, they just accept it. It doesn't seem like they crave it as much anymore. They would like to have it, but they don't crave it because they know they're not going
We're starting to get something on here. Glenn, I'm getting connection issues somewhere. It might be me. Go ahead and keep going.
Oh, that was basically my thought on that, is I've seen that side of it, but it's sad to see when a man gets to a point where he's like, it is what it is. Like, I feel like he lost, when you see a man like that, it literally looks like he lost a piece of his soul. Is literally how it comes across when you talk to him.
When a guy gets to that point where he's like, I could live without it, he's like dealing with the fact that like either the woman that he's with is such a nah, or like the sex with her is like starfish, and it's just like I'd rather just, you know, go watch a porno in the bathroom while I take a shit, you know, like it's
there is that issue too with men.
Yeah.
But Coco, let me get back to you real quick. It broke up just a minute. You said you were a diagnosed nymphomaniac. At what stage are you containable? Like, I mean, is it focused on the man you love, or is it so uncontainable?
No, I'm not like the girl from Black Snake Moan. I'm not like the girl from Black Snake Moan. So that's, I mean, I was diagnosed when I was 18, because I had this, let's just say I needed to go to the doctor because I was having some weird, uncontrollable feelings and urges and things that I would do to myself and didn't understand why when I was younger, and it was frowned upon to have sex.
So is it possible that you were just suppressed and you were just kind of a normal woman kind of coming into her own as far as her mature fertility?
No, like they asked me and gave me a series of studies, and then I went back when I was older, and like when I was about like 21, and because I have this thing where like I just want to constantly, like all the time, but I'm very in control of myself, like not wanting to sleep around with people. I'm safe. I only sleep with people I'm in an intimate relationship with, and so yeah, I want it like all the time. And then after I have it, I want more. And if I don't have it, it literally changes my mood. And then I get like DID symptoms.
So what happens when you, I don't mean to rabbit hole if you guys don't mind here, Coco, this is super fascinating to me because, you know, you're not uncontrollable. So it makes me want to ask questions. I would love to see what your blood work would have been back then as far as a basic hormone breakdown, because it's a huge factor the way a woman's and a man's hormones, this particular sexual hormones, there's even more than that. I won't get into it, but how it breaks down and drives libido to a certain extent. It's very obvious when they look at women today that take progesterone based birth control pills that it can flatten out your sexual desire as far as libido is concerned. Have you ever had that experience with hormonal birth control? Just curious.
Well, no, when I was on birth control, it never affected me.
Okay.
I was the same. I wanted it all the time, several times. Like I could be done, like we could finish, and then I'd be like, "Can we have more?" And then if we didn't, I'd be in a bad mood.
Ah, okay.
Like it affects my mood. Like,
yes,
has noticed. He's like, "Do you just need some dick?" And I'm like, "Yes." Like it is.
Or do you need the oxytocin release that comes with that finish?
No, because in all honesty, like that doesn't matter to me. I need it's the friction aspect of it.
It needs the dick. No, it's the dick. It's the spanking. It's the choking. It's the hair pulling.
Oh,
it's
the dominance aspect. Okay,
all of it. That's what she needs. She needs to be put in her place.
It's the act of, because you know, in my previous marriage, like I never had an orgasm in the whole 13 years that we were together.
That's not uncommon, you know.
Yeah, but I still craved it all the time. I still wanted it. Yeah, it sucked that I didn't know like what an orgasm felt like, but I still wanted it. And so that was So that doesn't affect me if I had
So
it or
you were-
not. It
You
would
were
just make me
married.
want it more.
You were married 13 years.
I was married for 7.
7. Okay. The reason I asked that, I didn't want to get too personal, but that is not uncommon. I have actually, way before I got into this space, did consulting through hypnosis for inorgasmic women. That is not uncommon at all in marriages, and men are unaware of it. You know, I'm curious, was your ex-husband even aware that you're inorgasmic with him?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
He
Never
didn't
mind.
care. He didn't care.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're in a better spot now. So back to the question, though. I mean, back to the statement that Glenn had made in the video that you made. There are women that enjoy sex, and they don't have to be a 304, shall we say, and they want to be with their man and they want sex.
They
And
are hoes. They just are secret hoes. They're
okay,
just hoes for their husbands.
that's fine. I like
All
it.
women are 304s.
What does a guy
I'm
do,
kidding.
Glenn? Because this is where we're really going with this. What does a guy do, Glenn and Coco, when the woman is not really performing up to his sexual needs, not necessarily his desires, but his sexual needs at minimum, and he wants to fix it? Where does he go with that? Because he's made a commitment to her not to go outside. I know how I handle it with my consultations. Hey, look who we have here.
Come on, man.
We'll get back to that question, but for you, we'll give you a nice little horn there. Odin. That's what you scream out when you're giving her the big O, guys. I'll just tell you. No, I don't do that. So back to the question, what do you do? Glenn, what do you do? I've surely been in a relationship where the sex starts to wane at some point, right?
Yeah. So I just end up getting divorced, and then I found someone that's a nympho, and then they just like fucked my brains out even when I'm sleeping. And then they'll wake up the next morning and ask me, like, did you have fun last night? Like, what are you talking about? You weren't awake? No, not at all. I was asleep. I'm not saying any names, Coco,
you don't have
but
any experience with that then. Okay.
other than the fact, like I said, like when my ex stopped like wanting to be involved intimately, it was because she was hoeing around. But it just ended the relationship. Other than her, like I have never had that problem.
Yeah. And back to that problem, one of the big issues is when a guy notices that problem, he's already gone down the loss of attraction road, and it's going to be hard to get back. And just the simple fact of dread and doing what we said in our clickbaity title today, tongue in cheek, well, if you won't do it, she will, is ultimately an ultimatum. And not a lot of people want to go there. They'd rather fix it with somebody that they're very comfortable with.
No, it's fine. Like you could, like, I mean, I would recommend like seeing what's going on. Maybe you are out of shape. Maybe you are not doing, taking care of yourself, or you're not as attractive, or maybe you've been a little bitch and you were, sharing your, what was it? Maybe you were being too emotionally available,
So how do we start out so that it doesn't get to the point? Coco, maybe this is for you. How does a guy start out? I know you like sex. So you've never been in a relationship where even though he doesn't want it, you still want it from him, right? It's never waned with an individual person. Okay, so it might
I've
not
been
be
on the
fair to
opposite
ask
ends of the
you.
spectrum. Like, so my life in relationships, like I've told this to Glenn, I swear, like what men go through in that aspect of their relationships, it's like the roles were reversed. It was always me that was going through that. I was always getting shut down. I was always getting rejected, and I was like, is there something wring with me? Like I've always been in
to see
shape.
your hormone profile. It's not something wrong with you. There are women like that, and I would suspect there's a hormonal profile there that would point you in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, like
You have a drive like that.
Yeah, I mean, they were honest. I mean, like my ex-husband was honest. I mean, he was like, "Oh well, I just figured I didn't really have to work as hard anymore, and I know that you're an info, so I can have it basically whenever I want. So then I just don't really desire it as much because I know when I'm ready for it, you'll give it to me." And I was like, "Wow." But
I like that. I got mine, girl. You get yours.
Yeah.
I got mine. You get yours.
I mean, so I can imagine what a guy would do because I've been that, like, from my perspective, I think like men should first talk to, their partner, their husband, their wife, their whatever. So their wife, and be like, look, so I have these needs and desires. These are the things that I want to do with you. I don't want to do them with anybody else. I desire to do them with you. Like, I want to experience these things with you. You know, I want to, try a few different things, or I would love to have this more from you because you know what? I love the way that you do that to me, that I crave and desire that more. Like, if that means sucking his pecker, that means sucking his pecker. If that's playing with his tootie hole, it's playing with his tootie hole. Like, whatever it is.
Rusty trombone.
Oh, that's what that is. I didn't know what that was.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're rubbing, you're using the slide while you're blowing the blowhole.
Oh my gosh, that's creative. I didn't know what that was.
Rusty trombone. I'm old. Okay.
All right, now we got that on the table. So, like, he needs to have a conversation with her and be like, look, because, I don't want to be unfaithful, but like, I do have these desires. And if this is something that you're not wanting to fulfill, then I am going to look elsewhere. Now, I would like to know, is there something hormonal? Like, is there something that, is there something that's prohibiting you or not having you have the desire to do that? Like, talk to her to make it seem like it's, like asking, is there something wrong? Is there something missing? To see if maybe there's something that she hasn't told him, and maybe she's, doesn't want to embarrass him, or she doesn't want to, hurt his ego, or whatever the case is. And then try it from there. And if she's not going to do that, then I'd say divorce her. Because I'd say get divorced over cheating. So,
okay, I wouldn't do that, guys. I would not take that advice. I would try to prevent it up front. But if you're in that situation, you really need to look at the first 85% of the dread. Passive dread is where you got to go, because even a woman that has a high sex drive or a low sex drive still has the same basic firmware of female competition anxiety. And if you're desired by other women, she will begin to desire you and want to fulfill you. And that's just it in a nutshell. There's much more to doing that before the ultimatum comes through. So I wouldn't recommend an ultimatum immediately. We're kind of tongue in cheek in it. Well, you don't do it, I'm going to get somebody else. And that is the first right of refusal in a long-term relationship or a marriage. You have this tacit agreement that we are going to satisfy each other sexually, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically. And we're going to do our best at it. And if you don't do that in any one of those categories, you just had first right of refusal. You refused. And therefore, you should be having those conversations before you even get there. And yes, it is the married man's sex life primer is a part of it. Come on, man. It all comes from that, Apple K, and those guys that were pioneers in the use of dread. It's often dread games interesting. I got a whole lot on it, and I got some combined stuff on it, but it's one of those things that a guy has to plan. If he's having sexual issues in the bedroom, we talked about that bedroom before on this podcast, Glenn, and this is a common problem. One of the big things is that starts to initiate is the guy is not competent in the bedroom straight out the gate. If he knocks her socks off to the point, Coco, you'll recognize this because I'm sure that Glenn has done this. There is a point where you get to a flow state in sex. You'll know exactly what this is, to where your sentences are no longer coherent. You're so aroused that you're not even coherent. That's a big deal. Their chemistry that goes on. I'm not being funny. This is real. That flow state is so real, you crave it. And because the chemistry going on there is very much like drugs. And the fulfillment that's after that with the energy that goes with it's so intense. If a man hasn't been able to experience that with a woman, he doesn't know. He's like, he just put his foot in the door. He has never walked through that door. And if he can do that, then a whole lot changes because he's doing what he needs to do to really, let's just put it the way it is. He can sling good dick. He's not going to run into the same problems. When you sling good dick, after a bit of time, that sweetheart's going to crawl through broken glass to get to you, to fulfill you. And that's a beautiful thing because when she does that, the guy kind of realizes, oh, okay. And he gets very protective over it. And that's very natural. And I'm very oversimplifying here. Paul, I'm oversimplifying here, but yes, the married man's sex life primer is kind of the basis for what I'm saying. Am I saying not to talk to her about it? No. But if you got to the point where it's already bad, Glenn, then you should have already had a lot of talks about this. Why would you on earth ignore the fact that you're a sexual creature and she's even more of a sexual creature than you? Although she may not have the same libido as you, You know, once you guys are in that flow state, it's game on. If you get her aroused to that certain point, it's game on. It's like everything is on. It's on like Donkey Kong, you know, and that's a beautiful thing. But most men don't know how to even put her there. And so that's unfortunate. And not everybody could do that right up front. Obviously, when I talked earlier about girls getting through the sex quickly when they're older, I didn't say on the first date, but I do. You need to get through it soon. Hey, look who's there. Let's give a war horn to our buddy, Danny Arnold.
Salute to Danny Arnold.
You know, he's such a good supporter. And I know I've seen him over there with you too, Coco. He listens to you. He listens to you. I think so. I've seen him in the chat.
That's sweet.
You know what? Come on, man. You know what? All you got to say, like, you know, just don't say anything. Just shut the fuck up. I mean, that was your motto for this morning, right? You know, like if guys are just, you know, they just need to learn to shut the fuck up, you know, and go get to the gym, get their sexy back, and then their wife will suck their pecker, right?
So Thor, I actually wanted to clarify something. So when I was giving my example, I wasn't saying like the first thing that a guy should do is like he needs to talk to her and give her an ultimatum if she's not doing it. I'm saying once you start to notice the signs that she's not listening to you, have a conversation about it. And then if the conversation doesn't work and if you don't continue to see change, then that's when you have that other conversation. Like, I don't want to go outside the marriage, that kind of thing. I wasn't saying like that's immediately what you go to. There's steps before it gets there.
Ah, absolutely.
How many steps is it?
I understand that.
How many steps does it? We're talking about a flight of stairs. Are we talking about walking up the Great Wall of China? I mean, are we talking about a little patio step, like clip, clip, clip?
Are you guys
there's the conversation? You recognize it, so you have the conversation. That's the first step. Okay, you guys talk about it. See if there's something you could do differently. And within 6 months, if you don't see anything different, that's the second step where you say, "Look, I don't want to have to go outside the marriage." What?
6 months?
I'm just giving an example. I don't know realistically for a man. Like that's between the two of them. If they say, "Oh, you have a month to get your shit together," or if they have like, "Oh, you have 3 to 6 months," whatever time frame they give each other to fix that. If it's not fixed by then that's when you have like the second step, which is like, "Hey, I don't want to like I have needs and desires, and I don't want to step outside the marriage for these." And then if she still doesn't change, then that's the third step, which you give her divorce papers.
Yeah, I still wouldn't do that, but here's why. You know, you guys know how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? You ever see the commercial? 3.
He said 3.
Of course. So I'm being funny, but I still wouldn't do it. If I'm having an issue with the sex and it doesn't self-correct within 2 weeks, there's a big problem. And I am always in passive dread. If you don't know what that is, then you need to come and find out. But a passive dread will fix that for sure. And if it doesn't, I will tell you how long it takes. If you're already noticing it and it's past the 2 weeks, you start the passive dread. It is a 10 to 13 month process. You're ever improving yourself. You have no sex. You hit the gym bag. You don't say a fucking word. You walk out the house, particularly if you're married, and you disappear for 6 hours. Where were you at? You don't answer. And then you go back at it. And guess what? Things are going to start to change. There's a lot more to it before you actually throw down. This is in case you want to save your relationship, not just throw an ultimatum. Because a lot of times if you talk and you put a time limit on it, you say, well, if I'm not getting 6 by 6 months, I'm out of here. She's going to test you. She can out fucking last you. Who do you think can outlast on the sex game better? Who's has the sexual agency? Women do. It's their primary agency. They can outweight you, and a man can't outweight. So if you love her and you want to save that relationship, then you're going to need to go through the steps. Otherwise, you want to cut this off immediately. If it's a short-term relationship, say you've been with her in under a year and this shit happens, say it's 18 months, this is nothing. Just walk the fuck away. Don't even tell her. Bad sex. Why would
I think there's like a way to do it is like, you mention it, like, you just got to look at like a past due bill. All right. You got 30 days to pay your past due bills, or it goes to collections. All right.
So you're talking about a marriage, or what are you talking about?
Yeah. In the marriage, like, look, like it's disrespect. If she's not putting out anymore and you inquired if there's something that you need to work on and you're working on that and you have improved in that area or whatever that is. Okay. Then that's one thing. You did that. good, and she's still not, trying to, please you. She's withholding sex from you or whatever. Then it's like, okay, look, 30-day bill. All right. It's 30-day bill.
What are you going to do after that? Send it to collections?
Yeah, the collections is okay. So because it's disrespectful in the sense of she's willingly choosing to disrespect you and not fulfill her covenant agreement that not only she made with you, but with God, if you guys got married that way. So that's a form of disrespect. And she's committing what would be considered sexual immorality. So if she's going to go out of the way and be sexually immoral, you might as well go ahead and hand her the papers and be like, okay, obviously you don't want to have sex with me. The relationship, our marriage is what holds the glue together is sex. So if you're not going to want to have sex with me and there's no medical reasons and you're just not into it, you're not into it to me or whatever, then fine. I'm going elsewhere. You should know that. I'm going to go find it elsewhere since you don't want to. And we're going to go down this road. So, the divorce is down the pipe, at this point. You got to let her know how severe it is. Like if you just try to appease her and you try to, jump through all her hoops and do the whole, honey, what should I do? And now you're in her frame. Let her know there's consequences to it.
So I only take two approaches because they seem, here's the thing. I use utility and I've seen what works. And I know what the counselors do. I asked the client, as generally a man, and I've, believe it or not, had a situation with a woman, but I am not at liberty to say. But I asked the man, what do you want? If you're married, there's children involved, and he wants to save that marriage, that approach is the approach that I talked before. And it's not that hard. It's not a bill due. It is essentially, he's going to become that alpha stud that he was when she wanted him and wanted to marry him. And if that doesn't work, it's pretty simple after that. He's given himself 9 months to 13 months, and around the 6-month mark of passive dread, she doesn't know what's going on. And if things don't change, he's lawyering up. He's creating his trusts. He's putting himself in that power position because he is now going to take the power position in the relationship. If she's not giving sex out to meet his demands, he's already lost the cardinal rule. And if he's lost the cardinal rule, he's punching up, and he's at a complete disadvantage. Now, that being said, when it gets out and into the end of his dread cycle, he will have women so interested in him. If she's ignoring that, pulling the pins real easy at that point, and he'll just start having sex with other women and it'll be done. Now, if it's short and they're still in that honeymoon phase, I would not have the guy waste any more breath than, look, this is part of my needs. It's what I want. You want this relationship to continue, because if not, you have to be that able to cut quick, and ask her. I will agree with Coco. What's wrong? Is there a physical issue? I would give her that grace. I recommend that you give that grace. Oh shit. You're having an issue with an ovarian cyst? Well, in that case, you got your ass and you got your mouth, man. Down the hatch or up the ass. We're good.
Exactly. But Sam, what I'm getting at is no, you have 30 days to remedy this, not fix the problem, but let me know what's going on. If it's something I'm doing, then cool. Let me work on that. All right. If it's something that if it just comes down to the point where they're just not in it anymore. Yeah. Then I'm okay, you got 30 days. It's the 30-day due bill, and then, or I'm going outside. And because if the guy's doing everything he's supposed to be doing, and she is just no longer into the marriage anymore, just because the novelty's gone or whatever, then yeah, I would be look, exactly what you said. Be ready to make that move to get out of there, because nobody should be stuck. No guy should have to be stuck dealing with that, with a woman that's not going to, want to have sex with him, that doesn't desire him, that looks at sex as a chore. No guy should have to put up with that. And no guy should have to stay in a marriage or relationship where she is choosing to renege on everything, but still wants to collect all the benefits from him providing. So no.
I get that. But let's get back to the blowjob thing. Let's just say she doesn't like blowjobs though. Okay. She's getting the sex. She doesn't like that. Guys, the solution is so simple. You watched the video and you heard the gals that really like to do it. Hell, you can see Coco enjoys doing that for a man, right? So the solution is really simple. If she doesn't like doing it and she's not really into it, no problem. You just tell her you're going to bring in one of those gals to show her how to do it properly, and problem is solved. That's my savage.
Oh, hey, sweetheart, you know what? I have a friend coming over. They're gonna help us out. They're gonna show us a tutorial. They're gonna be a tutorial. And so what's the tutorial on? Oh, don't worry, you'll see. You'll see. She girl gets there.
Savage,
she's like,
but it works every time.
I can't even with that savage comment. I am stunned. It was like so. I mean, like we're gonna have.
Did I stun an nymphomaniac?
Do it.
I mean, think about it. Like what? Like, honey, I thought she's a sex therapist. She therapies. She helps people with therapy and sex. I thought you said you wanted a therapist. I said I needed one too in this area.
Brilliant.
Like, that just rolled off his tongue like that. I'd be like, what?
That's how you have to do it. That's how you have to do it. And
if he doesn't start sucking your dick immediately,
it's a way to deliver an emotion.
Or if she's, if the sex therapist, if the thought of the sex therapist coming over to suck your dick doesn't throw her off of, her game and get her on her knees and start sucking your dick, then you got more problems than you really think you don't have.
It's even better if the therapist dresses like the blonde gal in the video we saw. So just so you know,
the one with the beanie and the tattoos.
She's going to teach her how to do it right. Tell her she could take notes. You got a little 3x5 card you can hand her. The
whole tutorial video.
I would hand her the phone and say, "Go ahead and take a few angles so that you can get some pointers." Just a one-time thing, That way you'll have a nice instructional.
Step by step. Here, step 1. Perk your lips.
Anyway,
step 2.
Let me go ahead and congratulate myself.
The most masculine man on the planet that I've ever seen. Red Pill Thor.
All right, you guys. Let's do our final comments. And Coco, thank you for being such a good sport, girl. Appreciate you.
Of course.
So let's have our final thoughts, Glenn. Glenn.
Yes, sir.
Your woman says she won't.
She won't what?
If your woman says she won't, she will.
Oh, yeah, if your woman says she won't, another woman will. So ladies, be there for your men. Men, make sure you are sexually appealing, that you still give her a reason to still have that genuine desire for you. If you don't give her that reason to have that genuine desire for you, then you are not doing your job. But ladies, if that guy is still doing that thing and he's still the best you have ever seen, and you choose not to get on your knees, somebody will, and they will do it enthusiastically.
Yep. And I'll tell you this too. If you're really a dominant masculine man, it is absolutely not beta to learn cunnilingus properly and how to ramp up a woman to an amazing flow state of arousal in which her sentences are no longer coherent.
That's right. You know what? I don't understand these guys, Thor, real quick. I don't understand these, some of these red pill guys that say they don't care about a woman's orgasm. You gotta care. You gotta care about a woman's orgasm, right, Thor?
So how many of the women do they actually have that are begging to marry them or be their girlfriends? Years
I don't know.
Years on end. Yeah,
no
interesting question. But you should be competent in that area so that the playing field is very level when you initiate something like Dread. Coco, I got to congratulate you on your episode. It was brilliantly done. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. And I have to thank my producer for editing it and doing all the fun stuff for me, Mr. Glenn Lawrence.
He's a good simp. So
he makes the magic happen in the videos. I think of the talking points or what I'm going to say. He mixes it together.
He's a good pimp.
I added the Mordecai. Did they see the Mordecai part?
No, we didn't get that far through it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to post it anyways, but I added the Mordecai, but he typically comes up with all the other funny stuff.
He's a bit talented. He's a simps.
Yeah.
Isn't that you know what a simp stands for, right?
No, I don't. I was like, I hope you're not saying simp because he's not a simp.
Oh, simps, SIMPS. superior intellect mastering poon submission. Superior intellect mastering poon submission. Simps.
Sure,
Poon is
the
the
he's submitting
pussy.
is this one, so
And then I'm superior at it.
yes, sure,
Uh,
absolutely.
Yeah. As long as he's not doing the Instagram photos for you, I'm cool. Carry the
he
little
doesn't
ring
do
light
that.
around
Unless
for you.
it's like, no, I
You're
take him
Coco.
to most of it.
I know you've seen that in the gym, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I
Yes.
lost my video. Hang on.
Yes. It's sad. Girls are taking like pictures
Or
of
the
themselves.
ghost.
Ghost.
Ah, he appeared.
Hang on. Did I reappear? No.
Nope, you disappeared again.
There you
Yeah,
are.
first time the Samsung ever went out on me. Hi, you guys.
All right. Well, I got a jet because I got some shit to do. So
I know. Thank you guys. Appreciate doing the Trident's always fun. It's a little bit more tongue in cheek, a lot of fun, a little adult oriented. And what was it? Danny. Look at Danny. We love you, Danny.
that's right.
We do here on the Trident for sure. Thank
Danny's
you
the
guys.
man. You know, Danny has the blue wrench on my page on my channel, so I wrenched him.
The boot
You
wrench.
Yeah, he got the blue wrench. He's wrenched
Oh,
up.
yeah. Of course.
He's a mod. He could kick people out of my channel.
Right. And oh shoot, we forgot to add the trigger warning today.
Oh shit. Well, the
we did
Trident
this.
should just come with the trigger warning. It's the Trident.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I appreciate
Well,
you guys
guys-
having me come on or suggesting that I come on tonight.
What's that?
I said I appreciate you guys asking me to come on tonight.
Well, we liked having you on. You better be good though. We're almost send Glenda over there to spank you.
Bring it on.
Why are you doing that? Like,
if there's not pictures, it didn't
Oh.
happen.
she likes that shit.
Don't
there's
threaten
no
me with a
pictures, it
good
didn't happen.
time.
She purposely does shit naughty just to get whoopings.
Don't
If there's
threaten
no
me with a good
pictures, it
time.
didn't happen.
Like,
Or
she's like,
videos.
I'm gonna whoop you. She's like, will you? I'm like,
No, I'm like, oh, please do. And he's like, damn it.
but anyways,
You too. Hey, good going on the Trident, and I will see you guys next time. Sco.